make a motion to approve minutes. Wait a second. Thank you, John. All in favor? Approve the document. Please review the agenda as it's posted on the town website. Agenda for the regular meeting, the Board of Appeals, which are Brunswick, December 15th, 2025. We begin with Kyle Smith. 1692 through 7, that's the third hearing, so no public hearing for that. Followed by 5:30, Jesse extension, also a public hearing for a hearing. And followed by 4 sign variances, approved by AJ Sign Company, and that's the number QB 25 through 299. Followed by AJ Sign Company, QB 25 through 298. Followed by Acres Sign, public hearing, sign hearing, and then lastly, roller, quick check, public hearing, sign hearing.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm Kyle Smith. I live at 1692. The property we're discussing tonight is 1691. Yep. No changes since last time. And I just would like to complete construction of a building foundation that's there. Small building that is commercial in nature. Just an office space for construction manager. And I think that's it. Okay. Sure.
Okay, we'll read the notice of public hearing. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick on Monday, December 15, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by Kyle Smith for area variances in connection with the construction of a commercial building on property located at 1691 NY Route 7. The application requests area variances for 2 front yard setbacks for a corner lot, minimum lot size, and minimum floor area of the building. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing, and this was published in the record, posted on the sign board and the town website, and mailed to owners of properties located within 300 feet of the project site.
Thank you very much. If anyone would like to speak for or against the project, you're welcome to come up to the podium. Do any of the zoning board members have any questions for Mr. Smith at this time? No. Hearing no public comment, I make a motion to adjourn, pardon me, to close the public hearing. Would a member second? Thank you, John. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. The public hearing is closed. The zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act on the application. We'll note that it's a type 2 residential application under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and that no further secret determination is required. Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine, thank you. So because Mr. Smith, you're doing a commercial building, we'll look at that as a commercial application. And we'll note that a short environmental assessment form was submitted with the application. And as a non-residential seeker review process,
the board needs to determine whether or not there's at least one significant adverse environmental impact from the proposed action. I would say that there is not, after reviewing the short environmental assessment form that was submitted with the application. Yes, I'll make a motion that the negative declaration would number second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The determination that says negative impact. We'll review the standard elements for consideration of area variance. Okay, great. And since there are 3 requested area variances, the 2 front setbacks, the board will look at them all together. We'll note that the Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has acted on this application, determined that the proposal does not have major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. The board's asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, nor detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variances. What is being proposed is 816 square foot commercial building will result in a structure that will not be seriously out of place in this neighborhood. And the board is asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variances.
We're using the foundation structure as well.
Right. Yep. And during that time, other options were explored and found that this was the best option. Thanks, John. And the board is asked to describe whether the requested area variances are substantial. We'll note that this is a 0.49 acre lot and business light overlay on Husick Road. So what is being proposed is 2,100 square feet. Roughly, the lot size was required is 40. 1,000. The front setback, what is being proposed is 14 feet 6 inches. What is required is 75 feet. That's on the Route 7 side. On the Deep Kill side, what's being proposed is 25 feet, and what is required is 75 feet.
I'd say the front setback is substantial, but it's not precluded from the variance itself because of the other items that are on the property, like the septic tank, the current foundation, and the other options. Places to be this building.
Okay, thank you. And the board's asked to explain how the proposed area variances will not have adverse effects on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
The size of the building is very small, so as far as drainage issues, there's no change there. Property was used the same as it was in the past, so there's no change there.
Thank you. And then lastly, the board is asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created, noting that consideration is relevant but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variances.
This is there had been a building there, and it had been hit by a car, a vehicle and destroyed. And so it's just replacing the building that was there before, so I wouldn't see that it is set to it.
Thank you. If there's no further deliberation, we'll consider the balance between the benefit to the applicant is weighed against a detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular, determining to grant the requested area variances.
Make a motion to grant.
Thank you, Daryl. Member second?
I'll second.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So the variances have been granted. Please continue the coordination of the work that you're doing with the building department. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you all very much.
Good night.
Next, we have 538 McChesney Ave Extension. Would the applicant like to come up and just give us a brief overview of the project, if there have been any changes since your last year in November?
Yeah, no changes. Hi, I'm Bob, Jess. We live there. We're just building a garage next to our house. Just the property line, it kind of moves at a slight angle, as you might be able to see from the overlay. So we just want to make sure that we're not too close to the property line. So it's more of a comfort for us than for anything. Discussed it with all of our neighbors at this point that would be impacted, and that led us here. So,
Okay, great. All right,
Okay.
well, thank you very much. Have a seat and we'll
right,
continue.
cool.
Thank you. All right, we'll open the public hearing on this application. We'll note that it was published in the Troy Record. It was placed on the town signboard. It's posted on the town website. It was mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet of the project. Mr.
Yep, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 6:15 PM on Monday, December 15, 2025, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by Jessica and Robert Gould for an area variance in connection with the installation of a garage on property located at 538 McChesney Avenue Extension. The application requests an area variance for side yard setback. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you. If anyone would like to come up and speak about the application, you're welcome to do so. Are there any questions from the zoning board members?
No.
Hearing no public comment, I make a motion to close the public hearing. Would a member second? I'll second. Thank you, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act on the application. We'll note that this is a residential application. It's a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. No or minor environmental impact, so no further secret determination is required. We'll also note that Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has acted and they determined that the proposal does not have a major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. The board is asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood nor a detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variance.
Won't be any undesirable change because it's going to be,
God bless you.
bless you. It's going to be placed in an area where it can't truly be seen. It's going to be surrounded by trees.
Yeah, thank you, Daryl. And we're asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variances.
When he said that this location had easy access to the house and that there are other locations where his well is in the septic, so this is the spot that that would work best for them.
Thank you, Patricia. So we're asked to describe whether the requested area variance is substantial. We'll note the R15 zoning district on a 1.81 acre lot, requesting a left side setback of 10 feet where 15 feet is required. To place a 30-foot by 48-foot garage. So, given the size of the lot, I'd say this is not substantial. The board is asked to explain how the proposed area variances will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. We don't have any increase in odor or noise or drainage. And then lastly, we're asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created, consideration is relevant, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. Going back to your point, Patricia, during considering the constraints of the property, that it's not self-created. There's no further deliberation. We'll consider the benefit between the benefit to the applicant is weighed against any detriment to the neighborhood in particular or the community at large in determining to grant the requested area variance.
I'll make the motion that we grant the area there.
Thank you, Patricia. Would a member second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
The area variance has been granted. We just continue the work that you're doing with our building department. Thank you. You might have to, yeah. This is no new business, right? Thank you for bringing that up. So our next public hearing, take care, has been noticed for 6:30. So because it is 6:21, we're going to wait for 6:30. Oh, sorry, 20, yes.
6:25 now.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 6:25 now, okay.
Need a new clock.
All right, so we'll go by your clock, Ken. Okay, thank you.
AJ sign. AJ sign. AJ sign. $735. Mhm. Yep. And then they sign.
One more. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. Okay. The next item of business on our agenda is AJ Sign Company, working at 735 Hoosick Road for the installation of a 34 square foot freestanding pylon sign that will have space for two tenant panels for the two tenants of the property. Hi, how are you? Could you
How are
kind of
you?
give us an overview of your project, please? And let us know if there have been any changes since you
Yep.
last submitted the application in
Yep,
November.
I'm Tom Wheeler with AJ Sign Company. Basically, we're looking to install a monument sign, two-tenant monument sign. No changes since the last time I was here. The reason we're asking for a variance, we're not allowed multi-tenants on a monument, so we find that this is a cleaner solution for the property rather than having two signs, which would not require a variance. So we're trying to consolidate and keep it less congested for motorists and easier to read.
Okay. Thank you. If you want to kindly sit down and we'll ask the public if they'd like to make any comments. If there are any comments from the public, who'd like to come up and make them now, that would be a good time to do it. Go ahead, sorry. Andy.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, Mr. Bradley, I
Well,
jumped the gun. We're
That's
gonna
okay.
read the
We'll
public
read the
notice.
notice first and then notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 6:30 PM on Monday, December 15, 2025, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by AJ Sign Company for a sign variance in connection with the operation of a retail plaza on property located at 733-735 Hoosick Road. The application requests a sign variance to allow a pylon sign with 2 tenant panels. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing, and this was published in the record, placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to owners of properties located within 300 feet of the project site.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bradley, thank you.
Good evening. My name is William Bradley. I live on Bald Mountain Road in the town of Brunswick. I have a kind of general statement first and then some specifics. I've had the opportunity in the last 2 years to put about 9,000 miles on my car and driving from one coast to the next, driving north, and driving south. And I've seen a lot of different communities out there, a lot of different signs. It's well known in the office. I have a pet peeve for signs. The original language of the sign law was written by people that I knew many years ago, and I think it was well constructed. Since then, of course, there are reasons to issue variances. I think the current variance in front of you is a common sense variance. Instead of having multiple signs that you're driving by on a small lot, the single sign with the 2 businesses on it is appropriate. I think there's, in the same location, and coming before you later this evening, is a much, much different story in the fact that if you take and, I don't know if I should just confine my remarks right now to this application or,
Yeah, that would be helpful, right?
All right,
We kind of concentrate and focus on what
okay,
we're saying.
all right. So, I think this is a common sense variance, and I think it's applicable to the character of the area. I will speak later to what I do not feel is applicable to the area.
And you'll have the time to do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley.
Trying to keep all the signs straight for tonight is a challenge.
Yes.
Hi, Mary Ellen Adams, 18 Cooper Avenue. So my understanding, I guess, from the way this is phrased, so Chipotle and the mattress store are on the lot that your sign is, and you're taking 2 signs and making them one, a tenant sign, right? That's what this is.
Yes.
So my question is, from looking at this paperwork in the office, it's 9 feet high with signage for both places. Is that correct? All right, and then like a setback off of the sidewalk in line with, so that's like what other signs are along the way. So that's the only variance in sign that's needed for those 2 locations? Because they're separate from the gas station convenience store.
Right.
So, okay, so a tenant sign to incorporate all 3 businesses cannot be considered because it's 2 different, it's one plaza, but 2 different sides. Okay. All right, I would go back to kind of common sense, 1 tenant sign with everybody in there because it's such a relatively small thing. Okay, then I was just confused by pylon versus monument because pictures say monument. I think of a pylon as like a stand and a thing on top, but the monument is square. This is like a square rectangle sign, not something sticking up above. Okay, so I think that makes sense. Would have made more sense to put them all in one, but.
Good. And I'm glad that you were able to clarify some of your questions.
Hello.
Hello, my name is Tim Galvin. I live at 5 Mohawk Avenue. I'm reading a letter here from a neighbor, Jim Chechik, who cannot be here tonight, so this is his words that he wrote. Jim Chechik lives at 387 Brunswick Road. As this retail store is part of a larger project, all requests for a sign variance within this project should be rejected for their cumulative effect on the character of the area and neighborhood. Significant variance requests include 2 large wall signs. One is permitted under Town of Brunswick regulations, and that is 100% excessive. Strict adherence to zoning regulations should be followed for this and all other proposed signs. Just have the courage to say no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We can note for the record that the zoning board of appeals has received 6 individual letters for the following sign variances that we're going to review tonight. It looks like just maybe one, which is the letter that you wrote specific to this application. But then there are about 3 of the 6 letters that the zoning board members have received that speak to the project as a whole, which doesn't single out the Chipotle, but speaks to the Chipotle, the mattress store, and the Quick Check. Just want to say that the zoning board members received these letters when we first came to the meeting tonight. We could have the option of reviewing them. And then, of course, asking the applicants to respond to the comments that are made by the public tonight. Are there any other public comments at this time? Are there any further questions from any of the zoning board members?
I have one,
Okay, John.
maybe Andrew can answer this.
Okay.
So because it would have 2 tenants on there, the question that we normally ask is what would be the hours of the business and would their sign be different? What if one tenant was a 24-hour tenant and one half of the sign was good and the other half was not? Could we, as part of this variance, or this request rather, ask how that would work as far as time of day that the sign would be good?
That's an appropriate issue to consider on the requested sign variance. Lighting, you've asked that on multiple ones, it'd be appropriate inquiry on this one for the applicant.
So I have a question for you. I obviously know the 2 applicants that are going in there. Do you have any information about what time the sign would be turned off? Because now you have 2 applicants, so you have the mattress store and then you have the restaurant. So I'm sure the restaurant's going to be open longer than the mattress store. And
So-
how would that look like if, normally we ask if the signs are going to be turned off with the hours of business? So would one go off and the other would stay lit and then the other would go off later, or you know what you're doing there?
They'd probably both have to go off at the same time, this situation. Chipotle, I know they usually close at 11. So when they close, we could shut the sign off. It's, I don't know, I'd have to figure out how to control the sign separately, but even if one was on, the other wasn't, you'd still kind of see it, so you wouldn't, you really have to shut the whole thing off. So I guess when
Basically one sign just with a break in the middle.
that's all it is, yep. Yeah, it's one box with a divider bar on the outside.
No matter what, the whole sign is stayed, depending on whoever the tenant for.
Until the last closing tenant. Yep.
That's a good question to bring up, because that could be a consideration to approval, whether,
And later on, if the tenant became a 24-hour tenant, that sign could be on the lease. What we had originally thought. Right.
what was that? What was that?
I'm just saying, we can say whatever we want. What time comes time or not.
So hearing no further public comment, and maybe, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Vinny Damapolito, 6 Mohawk Ave, right next to all that. I just had a quick question. I didn't have a problem necessarily with a monument sign, but it's a question I was going to ask with all the other ones is, how bright is that sign going to be? Like how many like lumen, lux, what have you, appropriate unit of measurement? Like how much is that going to throw and then what distances?
Thank you.
It's LED, so it's a short throw. LEDs don't cast light very far at all. Really just illuminates that face. It's not like a flashlight or a headlight that projects out. So it's a typical light box. It's got a polycarbonate face that obstructs the light and really just lights up that sign. It's not like a beam of light.
Thank you.
I had made a note that we had the option also that if we were to approve, that we could put a condition on the approval for the monument sign that only that we only allow 2 businesses, so that later on they can come in and add to the monument sign or change it out.
Right.
It's just 2 businesses, so that's something to consider.
Right. No, I think that's a great detail. That specifies what we're doing here now. Right.
Mhm.
Are there any other public comments? Any other questions from the zoning board members? I make a motion to close the public hearing. Would a member second?
Second.
Thank you, Daryl. All in favor? The public hearing is closed. We'll note that this is a non-residential seeker review process. That a short environmental assessment form has been submitted with the application. The board will determine whether, in their opinion, there's potential for at least one significant adverse environmental impact of the proposed action.
Make a motion to amend the declaration.
Thank you, John. Would a member second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Daryl. All in favor?
Aye.
So a negative declaration has been approved. Zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act on the application. We're asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood nor detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variance. And we'll note that this is a multi-tenant highline or monument sign where one tenant is required per the zoning law.
Yeah, I think that it's a good idea to have the monument sign with the 2 tenants on it, as opposed to having a separate sign for each, which they do not need a variance, is that my understanding? Kevin,
Right.
they do not need a variance to come in for two separate signs. So I think this is a smart idea to have the two signs.
Thank you, Patricia. The board is asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
Well, we just discussed that. They can have two separate signs, they don't need an area variance. But it just adds to the congestion on the site, I think.
The board is asked to describe whether the requested area variance is substantial. We'll note that the dimensions for the total size of the sign is within the zoning law. And for that reason, I would say that it is not substantial. The board is asked to explain how the proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. The board has adopted a negative seeker for this. And then lastly, the board is asked to explain whether the difficulty of self-created consideration is irrelevant, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance.
I guess it is self-created because they could just go with one sign each and not have to have a variance.
Sure.
So it is, but it's not really relevant.
So if there's no further deliberation, we'll consider the benefit of the applicant balanced against the detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular to grant the requested area variance.
Make a motion to grant the variance.
Thank you, John. Would a member second?
Can we put the condition on it?
Yes, of course.
Only the
Two con-
monument sign is limited to just the two businesses there,
Right.
currently there.
Right.
I'd also like to add the second condition that since the applicant noted that one business would be closing at 11 p.m., the sign has to show up at 11.
Right. Lit during business hours, right? So does your condition take into consideration if the tenants change?
Yeah, 'cause
So
what if
it
they
will
come-
always be two tenants.
Unless they were to take one of the buildings and split it and then have a third one there,
We have to come back over there.
okay, they'd have to come back for another variance.
Specifically, if it was 24-hour service, right? Anything beyond 11 PM or something?
Well, that's why I mentioned 11 only because for right now, that's what they're saying, so I think that's what we should go with, and if the tenant changes and wants to go to 24 hours, then
Yeah.
I can amend it.
I agree.
That's my suggestion.
Yep.
So I would say 11 p.m.
Yeah.
My condition.
So noting those two conditions, we have one motion to approve the area variance. Would a member second? Thank you, John. All in favor? Aye. So your variance has been granted, noting the two conditions to it. Please continue the work that you're doing with the building department. Thank you. Right. So we'll move on to your next application, Beijing sign. So this is the installation of the Chipotle sign package with a wall sign, a digital pickup sign, a directional sign, and a tenant panel. Want to just give an overview of the project, please?
Sure. So this is a Chipotle restaurant. So basically, we're asking for your typical directional signs to get cars through the drive-through once they pull into the plaza. And then in addition to that, we have a Chipotle sign on the front of the building facing Huzik, and then one on the end of the building. Since this is the last building in line, when you come down Huzik, you'll be able to see that that's Chipotle. These signs really are a wayfinding aid for motorists. They can see where they're going safely, turn in, and then follow the directionals around to the drive-through or parking or whatever they choose to do. So again, we're just trying to clearly mark these buildings to help motorists get where they need to go.
So just to reiterate, the variance that you're seeking is to have 4 signs instead of the required 2 signs.
Yep. Some of those signs are directional, some are one's wall sign. Yep.
And that one of the 4 signs is a side sign, so that needs variance.
Correct.
And then also to confirm, the total area of signage is compliant. It's within the zoning law for this package.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just want to take a seat.
Thank you.
Read the notice. We'll notice it was published in the Troy Record. It was placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet.
Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 6:45 PM on Monday, December 15, 2025, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by AJ Sign Company for sign variances in connection with the operation of a restaurant in a retail plaza on property located at 735 Huzik Road. The application requests sign variances to allow a wall sign on the side of the building, a variance to allow directional signs and a pickup sign to include a brand logo, and a tenant panel sign located in a pylon sign for the retail plaza. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you. You're welcome to come up and speak on this application.
Bill Bradley, Ball Mountain Road. I would just like a clarification that the pylon sign referenced in this variance is the same pylon sign in the previously approved variance.
That's a great question, and the answer is yes. And again, interchangeable monument sign, pylon sign.
Mary Ellen Adams, 18 Cooper Avenue, Troy, New York. Just because I looked at all these signs today, I get confused, but I think there's a lot of signs in a small place, and why you, I guess, can't collectively look at this whole thing together, which is a shame because it really would benefit everybody. I think if we have a sign on just off the road that's telling you that it's Chipotle, and you have a sign on the front that says Chipotle, I'm not feeling it's really necessary to have a sign on the western side, I guess. East? Is it this coming down? Is that? Oh, at the east, yeah, okay. So I'm not sure we need to be lit up again on that side. especially since there's trees and stuff go there. I'm not really sure how far. And that actually is level with the sidewalk. It's not elevated, so you're not going up that high to make an impact, I don't think. So thinking that one's not necessary.
Thank you.
Hello again. My name is Tim Galvin, 5 Mohawk Avenue. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of Jim Techik, who lives at 387 Brunswick Road. This is a letter that he wrote. As this restaurant is part of a large project, all requests for sign variance within this project should be rejected for their cumulative effect on the character of the area and neighborhood. Significant variance requests include 2 large wall signs. One is permitted under town Brunswick regulations. That would be 100% excessive. Strict adherence to zoning regulations should be followed for this and all proposed signs. Just have the courage to say no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Vinny Damapolito again, 6 Mohawk Ave. Just kind of want to agree with Mary Ellen over here. I do think, having a monument sign for drivers going east or west should be plenty enough, especially when you have a big Chipotle sign facing Hoosick itself. It doesn't really seem like there's much of a need to have an extra sign off to the edge, just spreading more light pollution that's already in a pretty light polluted area of Hoosick.
Thank you. Yes.
I just had a question, and I don't know if the gentleman here could answer. Right next to where the Chipotle is, there's a dentist office with some high shrubbery. Would the sign be visible like above the shrubbery, or like I just don't know how that would work or anything like that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to answer that?
Not entirely sure.
Okay. Mhm.
Or the signs on, the wall signs on the front and the side, are they also lit?
Yes, they're LED again, so short throw. They're not going to have to cast light in front of the parking lot.
Right, yeah.
Just the letters Chipotle and the pepper.
And you should note for the record under, part 1, C4, this is the first one. The E10 panel sign and the closet monument sign. You guys just approve that?
Right.
That's not 5.98. That's the 24.43. Figure out the area both sides. Doesn't tip them over the edge, but that 5.98 is not accurate.
Okay, 24 point, I'm sorry.
I think the 24.43 is 32 inches by 55 inches.
Thank you.
the sign had on the building had a backlighting? I'm just trying to look at a couple signs I see, and I see one at Chipotle at night, and it's got like a backlight around the outer edge of the sign, would this be the same way, or, I know you said that you pepper and the letters would be lit up, but it's not the outer end.
Just the pepper.
And then
So with some applications, the zoning board, when presented with more than one variance in one application, has taken that group of applications together to make a determination whether or not to grant or not to grant the variance. In this application, there are two variances. So we do have an option of breaking it down and deliberating on one variance versus, and then the second variance. So just to kind of put that out there, something to consider. So kind of like to recap a little bit. So they're seeking two variances. One is the number. Seeking 4 sign variances where the code requests 2. Of the 4, in our previous application, the board approved a pan of the monument sign. So in this application, they're requesting a panel on the monument sign that we've already approved. That's one of the 4. Another one of the 4 is the front sign, where the applicant could have a front sign without a variance. But because it's cumulative, it's one of the 4. That's why it needs the total sign variance. The other 2 that we haven't spoken about is the side, that east sign, wall sign, and then the directional signs. We heard the purpose of each sign. We could ask the applicant to again go over the purpose of, why a wall sign on the east facing side of the building, why directional signs. Does anyone have any questions about the importance or the purpose of either sign, a wall sign or directional signs?
I don't have an issue with the directional signs. I think they'll actually help with the flow of traffic on the property.
Yeah.
It's the extra sign on the wall that, puts the building that it doesn't need to be there. So if that was one of them, that would be the one that I would say. But, especially for flow of traffic, there are some other complexes that do not have good flow of traffic. There's been problems on those complexes, so I definitely think the directional sign should stay and be there.
Right.
Because the ones that are on the that are higher up on the east side and then one facing Hoosick Street are gonna be higher and they're gonna be more visible to neighbors. Is it true that A1 does not need a variance? That's correct, right?
Right, so you're referring to the short environmental assessment form, page 1, where A1 says 37.8 square feet, full-day wall sign facing
Correct.
Hoosick Street does not need a variance. On its own, it does not.
Right. But A2 would, the one that's facing east.
Right.
I'm in agreement with John. I think that should be considered. I don't, if that's something that can be done without, it's gonna be up on top of the building, right?
Yes.
And I'd suspect the one that's facing Hoosick Street can be seen whether you're coming from the east or the west, right?
Say that again?
The one that's facing Hoosick
Yeah.
Road can be seen whether you're coming from east or west, correct?
Once you're in front of the building, you look
Well, the building's gonna sit back, so you should be able to see it when you're driving east or west on
Yeah.
7.
Somewhat.
So the significance of having another sign on the sides of the building where you have another tenant on the one side and then neighbors on the other, is it really?
We don't have one on the side where there's another building. It's only on the east side, so if you're coming from the east, you can see it.
Okay.
But I think at Darrell's point, one of the people that had come up with the comment was, what is the site distance between, like, say, the dentist office and the big trucks that they have, which I know they're there and they're pretty large. You know, so what are you really seeing by that sign by the time you come down the road to see past, the dentist office building, the shrubs, and then a sign on each side of the building versus the sign that's right on the front of the building, and you got the monument sign. So if that's, the monument sign's probably gonna correct, get your attention first, and if you wanna know which building is which, then you sign on the face of the building, is gonna tell you which is development or which is commercial store. So,
And there's also that, right,
yeah, people are gonna sit in traffic anyway.
right.
Yeah.
But when you sit there.
I think the directional signs are highly recommended. Once you're up into the property, I think that is extremely important. I think that's a very good idea.
Okay, so it sounds like of the 4 signs that are in question, sounds like the board is in agreement with the front sign on the front side of the building facing Hoosick Road. The directional signs that are within the complex, allowing safety and wayfaring for the cars that are going through that complex, that side of the complex. And then, of course, the panel on the monument sign, which we've already approved the monument sign. So it's that east side. Then I also heard, again, perhaps a condition to approval for the signs to be lit during the hours of operation. All right, so where are we at?
Well, you've held your public hearing and closed it on this particular sign variance applications for the Chipotle package. You've acted under seeker, you've deliberated. We've noted that the county likewise responded on this application. And it's then in front of you for determination. I will advise the board that once you close the public hearing, you do have 62 days within which to act. You could act this evening, and you could also act at a subsequent meeting. So those are your options in front of the board.
Do the board members feel like they need the 62 days to review and consider what we've heard tonight, or would you be ready to act tonight? Okay,
Yeah, we don't need additional time.
all right, sounds good. So we'll consider the balance between the benefit to the applicant is weighed against any detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular to determining to grant the requested area variances.
Right, and I believe you earlier said one procedural option for the board was to address each requested sign variance on its own rather than collectively. That's still an option for the board.
Right. Okay, right. So Patricia would like to do that, then to look at each So there's 4 of them to look at each for with their own merits and to determine how you want to go with that. Okay, so how about we'll begin with the panel that's on the tenant monument sign. I would like to make a motion to approve that variance. Okay, John, would a member second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we have the tenant panel, which is 5.98 square feet on the monument sign. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, that's right. I'm sorry, that's right. Thank you, that's a correction. All right. And then we'll look at the enter and exit directional signs with the logo, 2 square feet. Someone would like to
I'll
make
make a motion.
motion? Thank you, Daryl. Someone second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Patricia. All in favor? Aye. Right, there's directional signs. And then we'll go to the front sign. Front of the building that faces Hoosick Road.
That one doesn't need a variance.
Thank you.
And can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So when you said directional signs, did you include C? C was not, isn't that considered? Or
Oh,
you
the
didn't do
digital pickup
the
sign
pickup?
with logo. Good question.
So C and D are really
Are they
are
being,
all are directional signs, really. I would say so.
I mean, if they were standalone separate, I would make a motion for C as well as D.
And I would second that motion.
So we're looking at them as together, as directional to help the
Okay.
people as wayfaring and for safety.
So one left is D.
So the one left, yep, thank you, is the wall sign facing east. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, on this one, we've not gone through the elements. I think that was-
Would break it down? Okay, sure.
She goes through each of those elements and then do the comments.
Okay, very good. So the way that we're handling it, we're breaking down each variance. Andy suggested that we go through the elements in regards to the sign that's facing east. So we'll go through our 5 elements. We'll begin with explaining how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood nor a detriment to nearby properties created by granting this particular area variance. I would say from our deliberation, we did decide that there would be a change produced in the character of the neighborhood and the nearby properties by having the sign which face east.
Dan, can I interrupt you for 1 second? We get a lot of feedback. We're having a hard time hearing you on the live stream.
Oh.
Can you just move the microphone?
Of course, yeah, sorry about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else on the line? Is that you? Yeah.
Good with one.
Okay, good. Then we're asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
I think he is pursuing that by having a sign on the front of the building. And that's all. Okay.
Thank you, John. The board is asked to describe whether the requested area variance is substantial. So this would be 2 wall signs when 1 is required. I guess it's substantial in the fact that the 1 is doing the job of 2 quite well. The board is asked to explain how the proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
The addition of the sign just causing no confusion.
John. And then lastly, the board is asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created. Consideration is relevant, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variance. And yes, like most variances in regards to signage, this is self-created. Quick question.
No, it appears we didn't. So
Okay.
we should do
Right.
that.
Yeah, so I apologize. I skipped over the seeker part again. I'm doing a good job of that tonight. So this is a non-residential seeker review process, and we'll note that a short environmental assessment form has been submitted with the application. And what the board needs to do is determine whether, in the board's opinion, there is the potential for at least one significant adverse environmental impact for the proposed action. And I would say no, that there is no significant adverse environmental impact from the proposed action, which we are deliberating on.
Right, so that could be viewed as a motion. You need a second and then a formal determination.
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. So this variance has not been granted.
That
Oh,
was
sorry.
done. That's okay. So that was
The
your
side,
seeker determination
Oh,
for the
great.
requested variances.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's cold out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You've already acted upon the prior variance parts of the application. The one remaining in front of you after you reviewed the elements was the requested sign variance for the wall sign on the east side.
You need a motion.
You need
Sorry.
action on that, correct?
I will make a motion that we deny the wall sign facing east.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thanks for putting up with my fumbling. So the minutes will do a very good job of reflecting what went on tonight. I know it was kind of confusing and a little bit out of order, but the minutes, when you read the minutes, they'll be very clear. All right, thank you. Okay, our next item of business on the agenda by Anchor Sign Company for 733 Hoosick Road, a mattress firm. This is a sign variance. requesting approval for a wall sign totaling 83.03 square feet. Oh, for that too?
I'm here for these guys too.
Oh, okay. Because they were from South Carolina?
Yeah, Charleston, South Carolina, and his flight was delayed, so
Oh,
here I am.
okay. Well, thank you for standing in his stead. All right. Could you kindly give us an overview of this project, please?
So, nothing's changed since the last time. We're asking for a second wall sign. So we have one sign facing Hoosick and one sign facing west. So when you pull in that driveway, you'll see that west sign. You'll know that's where Mattress Firm is. Unlike Chipotle, Mattress Firm doesn't have directional signs. So that sign's important just to get people, again, to the right place. Clear up confusion in the shopping center.
Thank you. So before the attorney reads the public hearing posting, we'll notice that this has been published in the Troy Record, placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet.
Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 7 p.m. on Monday, December 15th, 2025, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by Anchor Sign for a sign variance in connection with the operation of a retail store in a retail plaza on property located at 733 Hoosick Road. The application requests a sign variance to allow a wall sign on the side of the building. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Gilchrist. If anyone would like to come up and speak for or against the application, you're welcome to do so.
Hi, Mary Ellen Adams, Cooper Avenue, Troy. So I'm going to say the same thing that I said on the Chipotle. A sign in the front, I think, is adequate. There's only 3 businesses in this complex or whatever, strip mall, whatever we call it. I dare say people pulling into that road, there's directional signs if you're doing, I guess, the drive-through for Chipotle. I think people see a mattress store. They know it's the mattress store. It's not the restaurant. So I'm not really sure there needs to be a sign on the west side, right, this time, that the one across the front. I mean, it's not like there's 50 stores and you're going to get confused where you're going. I think one side is okay.
Thank you.
Bill Bradley, Bald Mountain Road. Just a request of clarification. The ownership of these signs. So the variance for the monument sign with the 2 signs out front, is that owned by the 2 firms that are there? Because I'm just thinking about, Mattress Firm has come in and asked for this particular variance. We granted a variance to include their sign out there on the monument sign. So there's a little bit, they could effectively come and ask to put another sign up in the future, in a sense, because the ownership is a little confusing to me. So I think that should be clearly stated, in your minutes and everything else as to, if we granted this variance for X, that doesn't include in the future that they can come back and ask for Y. So that's, if you can understand what I'm driving
Right,
at.
no, I do understand, and I thought that we covered that earlier in the previous application, but maybe it wasn't as clear as I thought it came across.
Right.
Right, so these are tenants. So
Yes.
These are tenants to an owner.
Yes.
Right, and if there's going to be a change of the tenants, right now we have the number, so there are 2 tenants. I think that's what we specified, that there would be 2, not necessarily if there'd be a change in the brand or who those tenants would be.
Okay. It's just because the way the applications and the names on the application is just what kind of confused me in a little bit.
So
that's
what
all.
do you need clarified?
If this particular plot has two buildings owned at this particular point in time by a single entity. So we have a monument sign, is that owned by the owner of the properties? And then are the signs owned by the individual tenants?
Okay.
You know, I just,
Different to the applicant versus the owner, I guess.
yeah, I just,
Property owner is listed as Marie Beers.
right, on all three.
Could you handle that more eloquently than I could ever do?
Well, I'm not sure, but I'll try.
Okay, thank you.
So, right, you got to look at the application forms as to who's the applicant and who's the underlying property owner, because there's a spot for both of those to be filled out on each application. But in general, understand that variances do run with the land. There could be a point in time when ownership of the underlying plaza is transferred to a new owner, but the variances would stay in place. So they're not tied to the identity of the owner. They run with the land.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hello again, Tim Galvin, 5 Mohawk Avenue. I guess just kind of reiterating what I said before with the previous application, and I'm kind of like mentally picturing myself driving eastbound on Hoosick Street. So I'm driving past the Price Chopper Plaza, it's on the right. We're kind of coming around that bend. So now with the giant wall that has been built right in front of my property, and then there'll be a gas station there and also gas station pumps there. By the time you're getting around that and seeing where the mattress store building will be, I think you've gotten past the point where you would see the side wall sign, and then you're going to be seeing the front view sign. So I almost feel like the side wall sign is kind of moot, like it doesn't serve a purpose. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vinny Damapolito again, 6 Mohawk Ave. I think something to also consider with these sidewall signs when it's already going to be covered by the monument is a traffic safety issue. There's a reason why the state had to pass laws to force people to change lanes when driving by emergency vehicles, because we can't help but be moths to a flame. And I do think having a little too much to read on the opposite side of the road there will already lead to maybe some more issues with the constant crashes that we do already have there on Hoosick. Something to consider, as well as, like Tim said, you're going to be able to see it. By the time you see that one, you're going to see the front and also the monument sign. So it just seems a little unnecessarily redundant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to take this time to enter into the record on this application 4 letters that the zoning board members have received prior to this meeting in regards to the mattress store wall sign. One has already been read by Jim Galvan.
Tim.
Sorry, Tim, I apologize. You're reading on behalf of Jim. Thank you. There's a second one written by Patty Sprague, dated December 15th, 2025. in regards to the development of this commercial property. And just to, I guess, summarize, the author would not approve any more modifications to this site in regards to a sign variance. And then the third letter, penned by Victoria Galvin, dated December 15th, 2025. She includes the mattress store in her letter. Again, in opposition to the sign variance. And the fourth letter, written by Kimberly Jensen, dated December 15th, 2025. She includes the 3 establishments under the retail plaza development heading. And again, her letter summarized is in opposition to the sign variance. So these letters will be included in the record for these sign applications. Hearing no further public comment, I make a motion to close the public hearing. Would a member second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Daryl. All in favor? Aye. The public hearing portion of this application is closed. The zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act on the application. We'll note that this is a non-residential seeker review process. The board needs to determine whether, in their opinion, there is a potential for at least one significant adverse environmental impact from the proposed action. And I would say that there is not. We make a motion for a negative declaration. Would a member second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor? Aye. Motion has been carried. We'll note that Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has acted and determined that the proposal does not have major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. The board is asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood nor a detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variance. So we voted on a negative declaration for the non-residential seeker process, which asked if there be a significant adverse environmental impact. We can, I think, still confidently say that there would be a change in regards to, I guess, like the visual congestion that was brought up in the public hearing. And that this would be an undesirable change. Or is asked to explain why the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance.
Well, I think that it could be achieved by some other method, which is the sign on the front and the monument sign. Because as Mr. Galvin stated, you're not even going to see that sign until you're right up past that big wall, because it won't be visible.
Right, and unlike the restaurant, this building is kind of right in front when you enter into the.
Right, correct.
Next, we're asked to describe whether the requested area variance is substantial. Note that the variance, the zoning law requires that the signs are attached to the front of the building. And this is requesting the sign be attached to the side, the west side of the building.
It is an extra sign and it's unnecessary, so it is substantial.
We're also asked to explain how the proposed area variance will not have an adverse effect on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district.
And that side shows more face of the residential side.
Yeah.
Residents on Mohawk Avenue, so if anything, there would be some extra lighting.
And then lastly, we're asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created, noting that the consideration is relevant, but not shall necessarily preclude the granting of area variance. And sure, just like kind of like all sign variances, they are self-created. So now time to consider the balance between the benefit to the applicant is weighed against any detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular for the zoning board of appeals to determine to grant the requested variance.
I make a motion that we deny the sign on the west side of the building.
Would a member second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Daryl. All in favor?
Aye.
This variance has not been granted, has been denied. Thank you for staying on tonight. Have a good night. The last item of business are on our agenda for 727 through 737, Hoosick Road and 8 Mohawk Avenue, Boulder. Hi tonight, welcome, thank you for being here. You can kindly give us an overview of your project, please, and let us know if there have been any changes since your last here 2 months ago
Sure.
in October.
Yeah. Good evening. Good to see everyone again. Tim Freitag with Bowler Engineering here on behalf of the applicant, Quick Check. We were here in September and October to discuss and introduce our area variance request for our signage package. After our initial discussion with this board, we did reduce that signage package substantially by eliminating a few directional signs, reducing our pylon sign, and even since our last meeting in October, we further eliminated one additional wall sign on the side of our building. After listening in on tonight, I'm glad we did so. It's nice to volunteer and offer that up to this board than getting a denial. But we're still here in pursuit of a couple variances for our final proposed signage package. This includes a pylon sign that is over the allowable maximum size. That has, as I mentioned previously, been reduced to 80 square feet per side. We have 2 fuel canopy signs. Those are at 22.6 square feet, one on the east, one on the west side of the fuel canopy. And we have 2 wall signs on the front of our building. So the logo of the Q for Quick Check is separate from the script Quick Check. That is 2 separate signs. However, they're still on the same side of the building on the front. That puts our total to a request of 5 signs where 2 are allowed. I do want to point out that since we did eliminate that Q on the east side of the building, that has reduced our total proposed signage to under the 300 square foot threshold, eliminating that variance request. So we don't feel our request is substantial. At our meeting in October, we ran through some comparable signage packages here in the town. One notably is the Cumberland Farms, who also has 5 signs, pylon, 2 canopies, and 2 building signs, one on the side, one on the front. We don't think it's substantial because we're under that 300 square foot total signage area threshold. And we're also, we have eliminated and not proposing any signage facing the residential neighbors behind us. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the board for any initial questions.
I have a question. I made a note and maybe not. So regards to the variances, at one time, were you requesting the location of a wall sign?
Yes, it's the queue on the tower is above the roof
Okay.
line.
Right,
So that is an additional variance for the height of that wall sign.
thank you.
Asking for relief from the height, that's what you're asking for.
The building department made a determination that the height of the roof is the main roof level, not that tower element in the front. So since the sign is on that tower, it's above that roof line, and there's a provision in the code that allows a 3-foot maximum. We're at 6 feet 9 inches above that roof line on that tower. But it's still in front of a wall. It's not like the sign is projecting in the air. It's in front of that wall facade of the green tower element.
Tim, referring to this, right?
That's right. Correct.
So then just to confirm, to clarify, so regarding the freestanding sign, also referred to as pylon sign, you're proposing 80 square feet per side. Okay, got it, that's per side. Okay, so that's why the total is 160 square feet and what is allowed is 70. So you're asking for 90 square feet relief.
Correct.
Okay. So it's interesting. I did a lot of traveling back and forth to northern New Jersey. And on Route 17, going both north and south, there are quick checks. And the quick check face going north, they have the queue and the quick check on the canopy. But then on the quick check going south, they don't have either one. There's no queue, there's no quick check. And I really have never determined a difference in the amount of business that they receive at those 2 gas stations. Of course, on that freestanding sign, as you proposed in your application, it's the price of the gas and of diesel. So I don't know if that helps any, if we can kind of knock it down by eliminating that queue and the quick check off of the fuel pump canopies. I guess, I don't know, would it be 22.6 times 2 if we were to eliminate those signs? That we can then deduct from the total signage amount, or 22.6 is both signs?
Times 2.
That's
Times
times
two,
2, but
right.
we're not seeking relief from the total area of
True, okay,
signage,
yep,
right?
you're right,
So
you're right,
it's
yep.
just It is the area of those signs themselves, but not deducted from the total area.
Right.
But what's important to note on the fuel canopy signage is, yes, it helps for traffic safety and those on Husick being able to see additional signage and branding, and to your point, increase business. But it also points out that this is Quick Check branded fuel. Some convenience stores are separate than the fuel they serve. So sometimes you'll see a convenience store with a certain name and then a Sunoco fuel component. It's important to their branding that they want to represent that it's Quick Check fuel. And it's no different than what Cumberland Farms has. They have a very small sign similar to what we're proposing over at Cumberland Farms, again, to brand their fuel the same as their building.
What's wonderful about Quick Check is that green. So when you see that green, I'm sure there's a name for it. Paint sign, the names of paints are just so varied. But I think you can kind of get away with knowing that the fuel is sold by Quick Check, as well as that the building that sells other things, that it's one and the same, because they both have that green, that Quick Check green. So if a customer is coming into the site or driving past the site, they'll see that green on the pump canopies, as well as reflected in the way that the pumps are designed. Again, trying to, maybe eliminate the need for the Q and the Quick Check on the canopy pump signs.
Yeah, I think over time that green is going to become more relevant. Everybody knows the McDonald's red, right? But Quick Check's not in this market. They have a couple stores that they're branding and bringing to the capital region, and this is one of them. And we shared that, kind of go through in the site plan review process, that this is a first to market location. They're going to continue to build their brand. So we do feel that signage is important. And this feedback was shared at previous meetings, and we did go back and try to reduce the signage as much as we could. We've eliminated signs elsewhere, but felt that these were important signs for us.
Mm-hmm.
But I can appreciate over time that green would get recognizable.
Right.
And I do see here in the table on our cover letter, the first three bold items kind of represent the variances. All signs, it still says 6, that should be 5 wall signs. No, or 5 signs total, not 6. So the relief is 3. Because we eliminated that queue on the east side. And underneath that, it shows the 4 wall signs and the 1 freestanding sign.
And did you do the math for the total sign that under the 285.5?
Yep, that's what's on here.
Okay, I don't have any other questions right now. Any other questions from zoning board members right now?
So just this one, you want to?
Correct.
And if others come up, we'll have the opportunity to ask you.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
So the zoning board will open a public hearing on this application. We'll note that the notice was published in the Troy Record, placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet. Mr. Gilchrist, could you kindly read the public hearing, please? Posting.
I will. I'll read the public hearing notice as posted. Based on the presentation tonight, I'll then review the proposed change from that. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 7:15 p.m. on Monday, December 15, 2025, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the application submitted by Quick Check Corporation for sign variances in connection with the operation of a Quick Check convenience store on property located at 731 Husick Road. The application requests the following sign variances. 1, size of a freestanding sign, 70 square feet is allowed and 160 square feet is proposed. 2, 2 signs on a fuel canopy, 0 signs are allowed and 2 signs are proposed at a total of 45.2 square feet. 3, Q logo signage above the roof line, 3 feet above roof line allowed, and 2 signs at 3 feet 9 inches above roof line are proposed. 4, total number of signs, 2 signs allowed and 6 signs are proposed. We'll note that's been reduced to now 5 proposed total signs. And 5, total square footage of signs, 300 square feet allowed and 308 square feet is proposed. The applicants noted with the reduction of the side wall sign that's now below 300 square feet and in compliance with the sign law. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you. If anyone would like to come up and speak for or against the application, you're going to do so.
Bill Bradley, Bald Mountain Road. Like I said, I had an opportunity to do an awful lot of traveling and see a whole lot of fuel stations out there, different communities, different everything from Las Vegas, to Chesterfield, Virginia. It was very conservative. Actually, Casanova, New York, is extremely conservative. The height of these monument signs is, a big consideration to me. I to be outright that I do not like the ACE sign that we allowed the digital display on and that. And one of the things that happens here in the canopy is kind of an example. We have Valero has canopy signs, Sunoco has canopy signs, Storz does not, so over time we've allowed these different variances. So when somebody comes in and they ask for a variance, you say to yourself, like when you treat your kids, you want to treat them fairly. And it's like, okay, well, they do this here, there, and everywhere else. Is it really changing the character of the town because we have them in other locations? Well, that goes kind of towards precedent. So any of these sign changes that you establish now will set a precedent. So if you set a larger sign than is necessary for them to function as a business, when somebody else comes in later on and says, well, we want to change our sign, and look here, we have an example where it is already in the town, and you pick away at character of the town by nibbles. And this is kind of one of the situations that, my particular thing is, the monument signs should be kept low. Sunoco up here on Route 7, I don't think their sign is 6 foot tall, probably up there. I think probably Cumberland Farms is one of the larger fuel station signs that we have. So as the board considers these things, consider the fact that not only today, how these signs will have an impact on the neighborhood, but it, to me, represents a nibbling at the cookie, and eventually, you have nothing left. So I'd like to maintain the character, keep things simple, keep them low and unobtrusive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Ellen Adams, Cooper Avenue. So my understanding now that there's asking for 5 signs when 2 signs are allowed. So I went in and I looked at pictures, and I just want to ask one, what's considered the front door on the side where the gas is, like between the mattress store, or is the front door facing Hoosick? For the shop? But actually the main door, what you consider the front door, because that's where there's a queue, is that facing Hoosick?
So that's your vestibule area. The door is on the side of that vestibule.
Okay, so it's facing, okay. So I'm going to go to the gas first. I think your points are very well taken, Ms. Clementi, about the signage for the gas. I don't think anybody's going to think they're getting gas from Mobil, Valero, or Sunoco when you're color coordinated and right there, a small queue, if you had to have some logo, would probably do it. I don't think we need to allow anything bigger than what our code says. The 2 Q logo signs that are proposed to be 6'9" above the roof line. I never understood, and I went to planning board and zoning board or listened to them, that the elevation of the structure itself was going to be so far higher than the sidewalk. I mean, this is a towering structure. So then when you add almost 7 feet on top of that structure with these cues, I would think you're well higher than Vince's house. I mean, I don't know the elevation, but like, I'm not sure that we need to have Q beacons this high up on Hoosick Street. I think it's known that it's a gas station. There's going to be a monument or a pile. Is the sign looking like a monument sign, like the pylon/monument sign that was for Chipotle? Is it the same kind of rectangle, or is it up on a pole on the top? Okay, so it's like a monument. Okay, so you've got that sign, you've got Quick Check across the front. I don't see any need for queues on a building that sits up like a castle behind this huge wall. And it's going to be, that's what you're going to see. That's what we're going to be known for, the wall and the queue, which I think is completely out of character with, Brunswick and our commercial zone. Plus, they're going to be lit 24 hours a day, which to me just adds insult to that. I think traffic speed along that area allows you plenty of time to sit there and see what you need to see to identify that it's a gas station. So it's 2 Q signs, the pylon sign, which I would say should be the same size as the size of the one for the other 2 businesses, because we should have some consistency. And it should be set back the same so they match, so that we look a little classy, if we can, with all the stuff that we have there. And then the height of the pylon sign, is that high up again? So it's not, so say if it's a 9-foot sign, is it really a 9-foot sign if I'm walking down the sidewalk? Or is it 19 feet high because the building is so much higher than the sidewalk? So I think that the need for additional signage is definitely self-created. When you look at Stewart's and Cumberland Farms and those, they all have a freestanding sign. They have a sign on the front, but they don't jut up. And they don't have, I just think that the sign, because when I looked at it today, I just think a freestanding sign, a sign across the front, and a sign on your pump that's discreet is adequate. So that's a synopsis of my comments. Can I give it to you in writing?
Of course, thank you.
All right, thank you. So please adhere to what we have put in place already. The comprehensive plan, has comments about how Route 7 should be constructed and how we should be trying for consistency and how maybe to make it look nice between building to building. We kind of missed the boat on a lot of that, but as Mr. Bradley said, if we keep making bigger and bigger allowances, we're never going to be able to have a nice cohesive corridor.
Thank you. So for the record, this letter written by Mary Ellen Adams dated December 15, 2025 will be put into the record. This application.
Hello again. My name is Timothy Galvin, Galvin, just for the record. I live at 5 Mohawk Avenue. I have 2 letters here that I'd like to read on behalf of 2 individuals that could not be here. The first letter I'm going to read is from James Techik, and that's Tkacik. You must reject all sign variances for the Quick Check project on Hoosick Street and Brunswick. Although still under construction, this industrial scale project featuring the massive Great Wall of Brunswick has already damaged the character of the area. The addition of excessive signage beyond what is allowed by code will degrade the environment even more. No legitimate justification has been presented to warrant these variances. The Zoning Board of Appeals needs to recognize that Quick Check is just part of this very large project. Please consider the potential cumulative effects sought by the Quick Check plus those sought by the 2 other businesses as stated before. Each of these enterprises seek the double number of wall signs allowed, 2 proposals, 1 allowed for each. The applicants are obviously intelligent enough to research the Town of Brunswick zoning regulations as part of their due diligence. They knew the rules when they started the project. Now make them live within the code regulations. The Town of Brunswick Zoning Board of Appeals has a responsibility to protect the quality of life in Brunswick by maintaining zoning regulations. You do not have the responsibility to maintain some corporate advertising policy or wish lists. Please live up to your obligations responsibly. Protect the remaining character of Hoosick Road in the local neighborhood. Stop the continuing degradation of zoning standards caused by excessive permissive variances. Again, have the courage to say no. So that is the end of Jim's letter. Let's bring up the second letter. So this is a letter presented by Victoria Galvin. She also lives at 5 Mohawk Avenue. She is my wife. These are her words. To the members of the Town of Brunswick Zoning Board, my name is Victoria Galvin, and I live at 5 Mohawk Avenue, across the street from the Quick Check site. I came to you on numerous occasions over the past year, begging and pleading for your help to uphold the integrity of not only my neighborhood, but also our town. Despite only a single neighbor writing in support of the project, a neighbor whom has also received compensation from Quick Check, the serious concerns from multiple neighbors and other town residents were dismissed, and the developers and businesses were awarded 8 variances. That is every single special request that Quick Check has made. The only limitation made on the construction of all 3 business sites was the building hours. They were limited to 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday. Sundays were off, and they were to observe federal holidays as well. I would also now like to thank Kevin Manello, because I don't know how many times we have called you and you have answered to address any of our questions and other breaches of the agreement, such as a 545 construction vehicle backup beeping and full sites working on Juneteenth. Then on Veterans Day, 5 large gas tanks that were to be buried underground were scheduled to be delivered along with the massive crane. They came on the holiday and worked an almost complete day. I was told that this was, quote, a compromise, but the only ones that seemed to be doing any compromising were the town residents. Now, Quick Check, Chipotle, and the new mattress store are coming in front of the board again with additional variances requested for their signage. The already large bright signs will now be even more prominent. The, quote, business corridor that we have unfortunately been designated to will become dominant by a new monstrous stone wall and towering signage. Want an image to greet those on our town via Route 7. I would also like to ask the zoning board to consider why the rules and regulations in regard to usage, construction, signage, and et cetera were designated in the first place. There is no need for our town to bend over backwards to accommodate these businesses. They are joining our neighborhood and profiting off our community. It is time for them to listen to us and adjust to our requirements if they would like to become part of the town of Brunswick. And that's from Victoria Galvin. Thank you very much for listening to us. And again, as a resident who is going to be one of the few that's going to be living with this every single day, seeing this from my windows, please consider all the right signs and regulations that you guys put forth for this. Thank you.
Hi, Vinny Damapolito, 6 Mohawk Ave, the guy actually next to all that. So I appreciate already reducing the big ask down on the number of signs and the total signage. But if I was reading this application right, they're still being asked for signs that are larger than what we usually suggest, correct? Like the freestanding signs are bigger than. I mean, I understand we've kind of got a lot of competition when it comes to gas stations, but driving up and down Hoosick, I noticed all the prices are kind of the same, you know, within a few pennies. I don't see the need to have signs quite so large. Now, are these also LED signs that are going to be like obstructed, so they're trying not to throw too much light that way? Yeah. I could appreciate that. The bigger the sign, though, obviously, the more light being thrown. And there's actually, like I alluded to earlier, quite a bit of light pollution already in our area. So at the corner of Hoosick and Mohawk, I had a little light detector with me. that I was able to get my hands on, and there is 11 lumen already crossing from Price Chopper Plaza, and just the ambient light right down there is 6. It does kind of dissipate. So when you get up to our mailboxes, and so my mailbox, their driveway, the Galvin's there, you still have 1 lux coming across, and you're like, oh, 1, that's a lot less than 11. You can still see my shadow when I stand on the road right now with that. And the ambient should only be 0.2 up there. So just something to consider with all of these extra lit signs, especially like signs that are apparently going to be lit 24/7. When being next to Hoosick, I know we do have traffic that entire time. However, I don't think there's enough of it to justify that much of a bigger sign being constantly lit like a beacon. Now, is there still, I thought at one point there was going to be a sign that was like almost 19 feet tall. Is that not suggested anymore? Like, was it a queue on a pole? Because, sorry, no? Okay.
That's the
You
pylon.
might, yeah, you're referring to the pylon.
Okay.
You're referring to that sign there.
Oh, okay. So,
Or are you talking about the one building?
no, so I was happy to hear about the queue on the building is got the building blocking the light from coming up the hill. But no, okay, I was just misreading the one there. Thank you. Yeah, I guess it's
20 feet.
20 feet.
That's 20 feet, so the monument sign, the pylon sign,
Yeah.
20 feet, the freestanding sign.
And now, is that from the sidewalk or from their already elevated driveway or parking lot? It'd be from the grade up already. So that's going to be at least what, over 20?
It's not behind the wall, it's in the entrance.
Okay.
It's adjacent to the entrance, so it's not on top of the wall, it's adjacent to the entrance.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So only to the base of my driveway. Gotcha. All right. No. I was just using my place as a landmark because of the way the elevation works in our neighborhood. So, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Robin Jones, 105 Hillside Avenue. And sitting here and listening to all the variances about signs and lights, the neighborhood, the aesthetics of this neighborhood, my neighborhood, has already been destroyed. It gets worse and worse. Now we have this huge wall, and listening to all the information tonight, all these additional lights, it's a commercial circus that's becoming around the corner that I've looked at all summer long, that I'll continue to look at all the while that I live here. No one that's on any of the boards, unfortunately, has this across the street from you or in your backyard. The zoning board, the planning board, the town board, you still have peace and quiet to a point. I just please want you to listen to everything that's been said tonight and think about what it would be like if you're looking out your window all the time and seeing this, if you're hearing it. It's not pleasant. It's chasing people away. We talked with a lady a few days ago, my husband and myself, and they were so distraught. They moved out of Springbrook, which is up the road a ways, but they couldn't deal with the traffic any longer. We left Clifton Park 38 years ago because of the traffic that was there. It's no better here now, but I don't want to be chased from my home.
just take things into consideration, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. So during the course of the public hearing that's still open, some questions came up from some of the residents. The letters that the zoning board members received had issues in them. So the majority of the letters that we have received tonight have concerns about Quick Check. I don't think the applicant has received these letters of public comment. There are about 6 of them.
When were they received?
They were received tonight right before the meeting. Right, okay. So, thank you.
Do you want to provide a copy, or is it any different than the comments we heard thus far?
Right, so I summarized some. Some have been read by Mr. Galvin. So for the zoning board members, we have an option to ask the applicant to respond to some of the questions that have come up tonight during the course of the public hearing or in the letters that have been submitted to us. That's an option. Of course, we could continue the public hearing, close the public hearing, and then we have the 62 days to render a decision. Kind of looking for a direction on which way the board. Oh, and then again, another option would be to, like we've done previously tonight, to break down the variances that are being requested. We could take them individually as opposed to taking them as a group.
I'd be happy to respond to a few of the comments we received thus far as well. That would be helpful.
I'll allow you that, of course.
You want me to do that first before you decide whether to extend?
Sure. Or does anyone have any strong feelings on how we should proceed? Continue the way that we're going. We're in the middle of a public hearing right now. It sounds like the public comments have been completed. Allow them to come up again if there's anyone else who wishes to speak. Otherwise, I think we would close the public hearing. We've noted that for the record, for review, that we have received these letters, that they've been admitted into record on this application. We receive them right before the meeting. There's enough time for people to review them at that time. Obviously, the applicant has not had that opportunity to review the letters, looking at them now. We can continue and take the variances singularly, or we can look at the variances together.
I'd like to hear what the applicant has to say, and that answers our questions, if we want to decide to continue or not, or leave the public hearing open to a different response form.
Okay.
Some
Great.
comment that we can make.
That sounds
I
like a way to
agree.
go. Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Daryl. Yes, if you'd like to respond to some of the comments that you've read in those letters.
Sure. I'll touch briefly, but can go into further detail if you have any additional questions. There were a lot of comments and questions just regarding to the height of the signs, the height of the sites, and the height of the freestanding sign. So I just want to note that we're not requesting a variance from the height of the freestanding sign. That's compliant. The sign is located at our driveway, as Kevin mentioned, so it's going to be flush with the sidewalk elevation at the driveway. The wall that was brought up with the height, that's going to increase the height of signs, it gradually gets taller and taller as you go west because the road is dropping and it's a higher elevation. So that's not really changing the height of our signs, just a perspective of where you are on the surrounding road network. Yeah.
But the overall size of the freestanding sign, what is the question that you're
The area square footage,
Right.
correct.
So obviously, a lot of the concerns about the height of the sign were if the square footage was brought down a little bit, it may bring down the size of the height as well.
It doesn't need to per code. We would still be able to provide a 20-foot tall sign. It was my point, is we're not seeking relief from that as part of our application. There was a lot of discussion of the height of the branded logo. So that Quick Check brand logo, or the Q that we're referring to simplify it, that logo is, it represents their business, right? So that's what they're trying to make this community aware of. It's like the Golden Arches, right? It's their brand. That's why they have that sign in addition to the script Quick Check. Just wanted to reiterate that that is in front of a wall that's facing the front of the building, facing south. No wall signs are projecting or visible from the rear residences. That will include lighting. And if you also look at the location of the building to those residents on Mohawk, that building is positioned in front of the freestanding sign, right? So you're not going to be able to see that sign or lighting from those houses. So that touches briefly on the height of the logo and some lighting concerns. They are backlit lights, similar to the prior application where it's LEDs inside the light housing. There's no shining lights, no bulbs, so you won't see that glare. If you were to take a photometric meter reading, you wouldn't see any lighting spillage beyond that immediate perimeter of that sign. So there will be no excess lighting pollution at the property line of the required 0.2 foot candles. Some of the street lights or ambient lighting in the area obviously impacts some of those reading levels, as was demonstrated. Some of the existing conditions out there are going to be brighter than what we're going to be contributing to that area for lighting. There was a request that the sign be set back the same as the neighbor, so we are set back at a consistent distance to that neighboring freestanding sign that was approved earlier tonight. I touched on the light pollution. We touched on the elevations again. And then a consistent theme throughout the public comments and these letters is just community character, right? So there's a lot of discussion on how do you answer that community character question. And I think the largest discussion we had with this board around the community character was at our last meeting, where that was a concern of this board at our first meeting. So at the next meeting, they asked the building department to do a lot of homework and review of other similar variances that have been granted in the community, other competing businesses. So we did find that we are consistent with some of the other commercial developments, sizes, number of signs. So we wouldn't want to be put at a competitive disadvantage to some of those other businesses for our site here. So we do feel we fit within the community of this commercial corridor. We don't think our request is substantial, as we're under that 300 square foot threshold. We're just allocating the signage in a few different places. And we would request that this board really consider trying to make a decision this evening. As you all know, the site's under construction. These signs need to be ordered in order to have adequate signage on the building for opening. I know that's not a concern within the 5 criteria for granting variances, but just time is of the essence for us too. So we would appreciate, a hard look at this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question.
Sure.
So on the gas pumps themselves, there are queues on that, where they are in, but
They have
they're
additional
allowed.
logo and branding.
Right, there's a queue on that. That sit underneath the gas canopy that you're asking for the Quick Check for the queue up there. I already have a queue on it, on the gas tank.
Yeah, you won't see those dispensers from the road. Those will be at grade. And when you drive by a gas station, those are smaller signs. You really can't see the activity that's going on underneath those canopies. So as you're driving down the corridor, you'll see the top of the canopy before you'll see those dispensers.
But I thought that I heard you say the purpose of the quick check queue on the canopy is to let people know that it's quick check gas, even though you have the pylon sign that says quick check and it has the prices on there. And then when you get up to the pumps, there's the queues on the pumps, which would indicate that it's quick check gas.
Once you're
So
there,
it
yep.
seems to me that, well, if you're pulling in to get gas, and you pull up and you see the quick check on the canopy, and you see the quick check on the pump, it like repeats itself. That's the way that I interpret it.
So just a couple of things that I'm thinking through is, we've also talked a lot about the gas canopy signs and some of the other locations that have been referenced. And it seems like most of them, especially ones on Cedar Street, on the Sycamore area, most of those canopies are actually blocking the building. So this one is, away from the side of the building, not technically blocking it. So they're coming apart and saying, right, huge canopy blocks the majority of the building. But I can understand on a case-by-case basis, everything's a little bit different, where there would be an allowance of signs on the gas canopy, versus here. And I think the goal here is to try to, eliminate it as much as we possibly can, to bring a balance there. The other question I have is, if the freestanding sign, and there's no relief given, and it's just allowed, unless it's on build, what would that look like?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
So if the freestanding sign, you're requesting a variance for the relief on that.
Yep.
If that is denied, and what is allowed is only 70 square feet, what would that look like then?
Be a much smaller sign, right? And
Would the intent be that it's on a pole, or would it change to a monument, or?
so what is the purpose of freestanding signage, right? It's to identify where your driveway is, where the site is to pull into, right? So you need signage that's clearly visible well in advance for site distances to turn into your driveway. Part of that is adequate height over the cars that are in front of you. So I imagine the height would stay, right? And it would be smaller script text, so it would be harder to read. We don't like the idea of going smaller because it is going to be harder to read and not notice. Again, with a brand that's not familiar with this market. So I don't think, and we've already reduced it, I don't think we want to consider reducing that anymore, because it's not just the sign, right? It's the pricing. So that eats away quite a bit of our allowable square footage for this use compared to a different use. So that is hurting us in this situation. But again, that's also why similar and competitive businesses have similar size signs, right? There's a minimum that they were willing to go to. We're consistent with that because they still need it to be safe for the traveling public.
Have they designed any signs where the Q is part of the word quick check?
No, so this is like branding logo, right? So when I say Q, that's just to make it relatable for everybody to identify it. But that's their brand and their logo, right? That you're not really changing or playing around with their brand or logo. They won't do that. Yeah. But I like the idea of knocking them one by one, talking through it. If the concern is the fuel canopy, we can talk about that or go through the deliberation on that separate from the freestanding or the wall signs too.
Because you spoke of Quick Check coming in as a new neighbor to a new community, to a new business opportunity. So as a new neighbor, to kind of maybe to be consistent and for the uniformity of the monument signs, because they're opposing each other in the entrance. You have one and then the Quick Check one. So maybe as a new neighbor, that would be something that would benefit Quick Check to be more consistent and have a uniform look in that neighborhood.
What's the ask?
The
A
ask would
smaller
be-
sign?
Yes, would be to decrease the size of the pylon sign.
But our neighbors of fuel service stations are consistent, right? We're consistent with fuel service stations. Our neighbors right next door, they don't have to include the area of fuel prices in their signs, right? So ours is bigger for that
Right,
reason.
you're choosing to include that in your sign.
Fuel pricing,
Right.
it's an industry standard for gas stations,
Sure.
yes. Yes, but we don't want to be held to a comparable to a retail, right? Hold us comparable to our competition of fuel service or other gas stations in the market.
But looking at it from the community and town's perspective, we have one sign that's 20 feet tall. And then we have another sign in the same complex that's only 9 feet tall, or whatever the height of that other one is. The other one isn't 9.5 feet tall. And it doesn't balance out at all. It's not a good look for the community and for the complex to have this monster sign and then this small sign.
We weren't involved in the neighboring business signage of what was proposed. They opted to go to the 9 feet. They're allowed to go to the 20 feet like we are. Lower signs, again, have a visibility concern with vehicles in front of you, right? When you're looking at signage, you got to be a certain height above for advertising, and that's what's proposed here. And then also, we're able to be above it, so I see it as a little bit of a benefit because now you're going to be able to see the quick check sign over that neighboring sign too for folks traveling westbound to be able to turn into the site.
I understand that, but, we're looking at it from the community's benefit. And
Yep.
what fits best into our community and the look that we want in our community. And I'm not sure that that's the way that we would want to go, to have that. Because we have other gas stations that have signs that are not 20 feet tall. So.
Yeah, we're not here for a height variance. So is it the size with it that's the concern, or
That's
I'm just,
what we're asking, can there be a compromise on the height in relation to the relief of the size of the sign requested?
So you're asking, so what you're,
Because they're asking for 90 square feet of relief. So if they weren't given 90 square feet of relief, and there was a compromise there, could the sign be shorter because the overall size of the sign would be smaller?
gotcha.
Shrinking the
narrow.
size of the sign,
Right.
start from the height first and come down with it. You've also got
And
10
narrower.
feet from the ground up to the bottom of the sign.
We've got 8 feet.
8 feet, I thought I saw 10.
I mean, that 8 feet, I wouldn't want to go below 6. Just from its location and seeing, you want to be able to see through when vehicles are queued.
Sure.
I have 10 too. No, I have 10 also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your total square footage on that one?
This one here,
80.
is-
Okay, then yeah, that is the rated.
this one here is 10'3".
This might be.
Right, above it too. So, and what we're trying to ask is if they can drop the overall height down a little bit.
Yeah, okay, it's the 10'3".
If the sign's smaller, by the time we're done, maybe that sign is only 16 feet tall.
Yeah, bring that down 2 or 3 feet. Just match what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if that height goes from 20 to, say, 17. And taking it down 3 feet. I'll give you still that visibility window if a car is stacked, trying to leave the site there.
Is that dropping, just basically dropping the whole sign down 7, but leaving the sizes, you still request the same size?
I wasn't changing the size and just what I was saying, yeah, just dropping that pole, the 3 feet. Yeah.
She looking at that?
Yeah, she has that. Thank you, Daryl. All right, good. Are we going to say something, Daryl? No. All right.
Do you want to go through one by one, and just, so we can either decide to keep it open?
Sure. So you're saying go through each variance one by one.
I think we're gonna have to, because, at some point, we just have to decide what we're gonna do, all right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's still one public hearing, right?
Right, I'll note, it's one application that requests a number of variances, but it is one application, and it was noticed for a single public hearing. So you would not be able to keep the public hearing open with respect to certain variance requests and close it on others. It is one application.
So whether or not,
Whether your deliberations deal with particular requests one by one is not the same as it is one complete application and one noticed public hearing that includes all the requests. So your option is to keep the public hearing open. That would apply to all sign variance requests, or close the public hearing. That would apply to all sign variance requests. And it's a separate issue on whether you proceed to act at this meeting. The law allows you 62 days. Okay? Those are all procedural options for you.
And secret, we do have to redo secret.
Correct.
I would like to request the board to close it.
Oh, sure. We would allow the public to right. It's still open.
so. I don't know if there's, if they let me go in,
Right. Yeah.
I agree.
but it's like time to review this bill.
And what do you need? Do you need responses to the issues that have come up from the applicant in regards to the extended time that you need to review?
So we do also have the applicant here. If I could consult with them and just see if they had any other suggestions before
Of course.
delaying this, as I know, time is of the essence too.
Of course. Right. So the public hearing is still open.
Bill Bradley, Ball Mountain Road. I'd like to thank the board for the questions that they are asking. I would like to point out that Mr. Freitag is right about the height situation if he was not asking for a variance. Since he's asking for a variance in the size of the sign, this board, I believe, is fully within their rights to ask for the change in height as part of a size variance of that sign. So I'd like to, I could be incorrect, but that should be considered. I would like to see this board hold this public hearing open and request the applicant provide some additional maybe renderings to just go with a lower sign. This is right back to the cookie again, is that they're saying economic disadvantage to their competitors. Well, Sunoco up here, like I say, has a very small sign. Cumberland Farms is not 20 feet tall. So, yes, we do have some tall signs, but they're asking for a variance. This board has some latitude in dictating if they're going to allow that variance and how that variance will be handled. Thank you.
Thank you. So Patricia brought up her interest in holding open the public hearing. No, are we closing the public hearing?
I'm fine with closing the
Okay.
public hearing, but,
Would you like to work within those 62 days to review what has been deliberated and what you've heard tonight? And then for responses by the applicant? Is that part of what you're looking for, or?
Well, I kind of like Mr. Bradley's suggestion that maybe some renderings that show a sign that's more in line with what we're looking for the square footage.
Okay. And you had a discussion with?
I did, and he does mention that we are able to agree to some relief tonight because they're pouring footings and, under construction, so there's consideration to that too. But if we wanted to bring that height down slightly, we could accommodate that and work in how that's affected, if it's the pole or the signage getting smaller, if there's a height that would make sense, or looking at the fuel canopy signage, if that's also something that you're really considering, that he would be willing to remove some of those canopy signs to continue to move this application forward. And I think by delaying the hearing tonight, that's what is going to be considered anyway of, hey, does it really make sense to have those signs or not? So maybe we could expedite that by making some of those decisions tonight, but he did just offer that up.
So I have one thought on the canopy signs, like I brought up before, where we talked about these fuel canopies blocking some of the buildings, and kind of like what we just did with these recent two applications, that depending on site distance and whatnot, are they really needed? So from my point of view, I could see where you would want the sign on the east side of the fuel canopy. If you're coming from the west, you're seeing the building
You
first,
see the building first.
and that's gonna be your sign, plus your sign, right? Your pylon sign. So, if it were me, yes, I would say that eliminating a canopy sign, especially on the west side of the building, would make the most sense.
So you're not going to even see it, Anthony, because the wall is there.
No, I'm talking about this sign right here on the east side, if you're coming from the east side, on top of the canopy.
Traveling west, yeah.
But you're gonna have this big pylon, you're gonna have this big pylon sign out there. And you're gonna have this quick check and the big queue up there.
Yeah, I see the sign back here, but
You see all that? I'm there every day.
Well, and I guess maybe just put a little fine point on that. So the purpose of the pine sign is for the attention and to notify drivers going by, what the purpose of that establishment is. And then I thought then the purpose of the fuel pump canopy signs was for the branding.
Correct.
It wasn't necessarily to draw the westbound traffic coming in and not the eastbound traffic coming in. So, right, I could see why an elimination of the fuel pump canopy cues and quick check signs would be helpful, knowing that it's that green, that beautiful quick check green, and that the purpose of the pylon sign up front is to draw in customers.
is the whole canopy ring lit up?
No.
Green? Just-
Some of them do, and again, we didn't apply for that here, just knowing the residential districts
I've seen
behind
that
us.
other quick check
Yep.
before.
So procedurally, how are we doing?
I have to go.
Of course, would you like to say something before you go?
I appreciate that you're going through every one of them individually, that's fantastic. Please don't forget the cue that it's more than double the size of what's in our code. So we're talking about identifying from the road, we're talking about identifying it as a green canopy, we can identify it from looking at the building. Keep in mind, do we need to have the highest sign that cue double the size of what's allowed. Keep that within, there's rules we make for a reason. We already have higher, the shoes stay in 3 feet that we have. It's still the height, I appreciate there's a wall behind it, but it's the overall height of what we're seeing that is forward and we're still going to be higher. So please keep that in mind when we're discussing that. I'll catch you on the.
Okay, thank you.
It's 22.6 feet.
That's the size of it. It's 3.
6.9 above the roof.
Yeah.
I understand that, but it's up 22.6 feet.
Square feet, the size.
Oh, it's 22.6 square feet, the size of the tree.
Okay, so it sounds like we're kind of breaking down each of the variances one by one. So we could do a last call for the public hearing, if anybody else wants to come up and speak. We could close the public hearing. We could decide to deliberate, taking one by one. We could use the 60 days that we're allowed. Kind of like want a feeling on that. You kind of make that kind of decision.
Well, I would like to see what the new sign's gonna look like.
Okay, great, all right. So it sounds like.
Which sign is of concern here? As far
What
as,
it would look like if you did some relief to the height and the size of it,
yep, so
the square footage.
the height we can absorb in the poles. So that same image that you've got, right? So the poles would just get a little bit shorter and it'll be lower. That's what we can do with the height. And if there's a height in mind that you're considering, we can see of what that pole needs to go down to. Is it 18 feet? Is it 16 feet?
What's neighbor one? What's the neighbor monument sign height?
9'6".
So right now, proposed a height of 20?
Yeah.
So 20 on one side and 9 on the other. So it's double. More than double.
But it's a different style, right? So
And I can understand that because you're gonna talk about the pricing. So I get
the
that.
pricing and the sight line. So we're on the side of the driveway where vehicles are leaving the site, right? So you have a clear space underneath. That sign doesn't have a clear space underneath because vehicles are coming in, right? So as you're leaving, you can't look next to you and see a sign. You need to see underneath that sign for cars coming. So that's why our sign is a little bit different, right? If you go down to that 9 feet, our sign is gone because you can't have a wall next to those vehicles leaving the site.
So if you dropped it down, you said you could drop it down to, what, 16?
18 we could do in the pole. If we go to 16, we're going to have to look to see if the size of the sign has to be reduced as well. So 18 would be preferred, but again, if you think that's out of the character of this neighborhood, 16 we can figure out.
So what does it come out to be square footage wise?
It would be less than the 70. I don't know what we would need to reduce
I don't
that.
know the square footage.
But that makes sense.
I don't know if you know the size. You could go to 50 square foot at the lower height. So 50 on each side
So it'd be a total of 130
of 100.
100 square feet?
feet. Really.
Significant difference in what's there. But in order to get that extra height, that's what
The
have
width would be the same? 10 feet?
it would be proportional. The width would probably be like 7 feet for that size.
Less light too?
Yeah, it's
Obviously.
all less sign, yeah.
I'm okay with that.
So the height is being proposed to be decreased and the overall square footage is being proposed to be decreased, correct?
So you could do 16, is that what you said, or just,
I said 18, you said 16. Maybe we give a compromise of 17 plus or minus.
I want 16.
Well, yeah, we still have the 62 days. So.
You're being summoned. Seems like a horse trading now.
He just reassured us it's the same size, or it's the same rendering, right? It's just shrunk to the smaller size.
What you see is going to be the same.
Smaller.
50 square feet with exactly like that.
Okay.
That's 80. Yeah. It'll be proportionally shrunk. The letters will be proportionally reduced. You're going to see the same. You can take a picture of that highway and superimpose this on, so you know exactly what you're looking at. There's a wall out there that you can anticipate. So this is correct.
Well, we can't, the signs can't be eliminated, and I think there's been a lot of compromise on both sides, and I agree with, it's gonna be smaller, so seeing a rendering of the sign, I don't know what it's gonna do for you. I mean,
It's all rendered on the wall.
it was significantly reduced.
Force decision.
The public making it.
I mean, I'm good with what we're talking about.
I think that was a significant compromise.
You want to go one by one and then finalize the other?
Sure. Okay. All right, go take them one by one.
That's an option for the board, still in front of you. The public hearing is open. If closed, you'll need to first address seeker and then address the requested variances.
So if you can kind of sit down for now,
Sure.
I'm going to invite the public if they'd like to come forward. For a final time, if there's any other public comment, you're welcome to come up and offer that right now, please.
Hello again, Timothy Galvin, 5 Mohawk Avenue. Just again, from a practical standpoint, from someone who lives and drives on Hoosick Road every single day. We're going to be sitting in traffic because everyone knows that we all just sit in traffic every day to and from work. So I don't foresee people flying down, up and down Hoosick Street and missing the signs and things like that. We'll be sitting and crawling up Hoosick Street, particularly at this one spot. So if they decide they need to turn, make a right to go into Quick Check or get into the median lane to go into Quick Check, they'll have ample time to do so because of the traffic. And again, was it brought up, or maybe I just misheard, but is there any kind of sign that's going to be put on the face of the giant wall, or is that going to be left blank? There's no application to put on the wall at all or anything like that? Okay. And again, just as a resident who lives right there, and I do appreciate Quick Check trying to be mindful now of us and the residents as far as trying to reduce the light pollution. I will say there's light pollution all directions from all the windows I see from my house, from the neon purple of Taco Bell that I see in my bedroom to all of the Walmart lights that I now see because of all the trees and houses that have been knocked down. So yes, even though it has been brought up that it would be reduced, I'm still going to see light pollution all over the place. So thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Hearing no further public comment, I make a motion to close the public hearing portion. Thank you, John. Remember a second? Oh, sorry. My phone. Thank you, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. The zoning board members prepare, deliberate, and act on the application, which you said that you'd like to do. Take each variance on its own accord. Let's see, we have.
We do have to do secret first.
Right. Do you have a Lancaster County? Sheet on this.
I don't have it with me. I do
Yeah, we did. We did.
believe it was forwarded to the county.
Okay.
I just didn't bring it tonight. What?
We'll get it back.
You have not gotten it back? From the county? Okay, so that, unfortunately, I wish we knew that several minutes ago. So the application was forwarded to the county? Do you know when it was forwarded to the county? Okay, we haven't gotten the county 239M recommendation back.
Is there a way you can see when that was sent? If it was sent 30 days ago, of which it was sent October, right? Because the notice was changed and pushed to November, so I'm not sure if there's a way to verify that at this moment.
Well, if it's not verifiable at this moment, understand that that is an absolute jurisdictional issue with any action that the board takes. And it voids the action that the board takes. Okay? So, and I appreciate an applicant's construction schedule, but that's,
Yeah.
and
I just know we were teed up for the November meeting.
I understand that.
And that public notice from the town was requested to be redone, so we lost a month there. This is our third or fourth ZBA meeting. It's tough, but I understand it's it's an issue. I don't know if there's a file.
I don't know. I have to chat with one there. She's working on it, but I have no idea if I know.
Right. Right, it's January 19th, I don't know what that makes. January 19th is right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The record, that's a big issue.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and we would have to be in receipt of that letter.
Or confirm the 30 days have passed.
Uh-huh.
I'd be surprised. That was pretty good at getting these responses back. Tell you.
Yeah. No, right. All right. Yeah, so after consulting with Attorney Gilchrist, what we could do, so that the zoning board of appeals meets again January 19th, 2025, which that might be a holiday weekend, so that Monday might even be further, the next week. But what we,
19th is Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a holiday.
okay. So what we could do, and what we have done in the past, for situations like this, is schedule a special meeting, where this application is the only application on the agenda for that. So we would have to confirm that, that the board is in receipt of the letter from Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning, or that 30 days has passed.
Right.
Um,
All I'll note is, I think it's been the town's experience, the board's experience, that the county has always responded in writing on the application. So I am a little concerned about that 30-day elapse issue. They are timely on these types of variance applications with the zoning board. That will allow time to confirm that and coordinate with the county on getting that. Since it is jurisdictional, I do have concern about making sure any action that the board takes is not subject to challenge.
So the building department will do that, and they'll
Yes.
notify us, and they'll
Yes.
notify you, and you will notify us. They'll
Now, the
notify-
building department will coordinate and confirm that with the county.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
And then since the public hearing's closed, is there a 10-day notice, or we don't have to renotice for that special meeting?
Oh, no. There will be a notice of special meeting, but
But not for a public hearing?
no, it won't be. The public hearing's closed.
Well, I thank
It'd
you
be a
for-
special meeting, just
Yeah.
if the board chooses to
Yeah,
do that, just
well,
to deliberate it.
Appreciate
and
that
act.
consideration. Thank you.
Right, so would you like to meet on a Monday? So on a Monday before the week of the 19th.
We just have to check to see what time.
I'm not looking at
12th
the
or
calendar.
5th?
I can look, I think
I guess
there's
the
a
question
Here's
is,
the
how long
calendar.
does it take for the
Yeah.
to
how- I mean,
verify,
no,
right? So,
yeah.
So there's 2 Mondays before the 19th, which would probably, we would probably need the 26th anyway.
Yeah.
So the 5th seems soon. I don't know, the 12th, would that give enough time?
So
January
when the
12th?
Calendar flips over.
Yeah.
City and Anthony,
Right, Chris?
there's the possibility that when we leave here tonight and the building department checks, it turns out that notice was never actually sent.
Yeah,
So that would have to happen,
right.
and then you have to wait for at least 30 days.
Or a response, right?
Correct. So it's two possibilities. It went out, you know it went out.
Right.
3 days gone by, in which case it wouldn't matter when you schedule your special meeting. Or we have to do that, and you have to wait at least 30 days. So maybe a plan would be to get a tentative date for a special meeting, contingent upon confirmation that that notice to county planning actually went out. And we reported to the applicant about whether or not that special meeting will go forward. So I think pick a date, put it on this calendar, but don't put a notice out for it, don't expect it until we confirm what we're in, whether there's reason to have that.
Okay. And do you believe that January 12th, 2026 would be a reasonable date?
That would work for my schedule.
Okay.
Again, assuming that we confirm, say, that notice went out to the county. That's not an issue.
Okay.
If it hasn't gone out, then January 12th would be too soon.
All right, so we can tentatively set it for the 12th, and then, but we have to wait to find out.
Okay. John and Daryl, how's that for you?
6?
12th.
No, at 6?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 6 o'clock. Good question, Daryl. Thank you.
Andy, are we able to do secra?
It's up to the board. I mean, procedurally,
Procedurally.
the board could. I'm not sure how that advances
Checking off
anything.
another
Oh, I
box of
understand
some
that. I
progress.
understand that. Generally, the board has done the secret determination in conjunction with action on the applications, but that's up to the board.
Okay, the applicant's asking whether or not we do seeker tonight or wait
Or-
for the special meeting.
That's correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's up to the board procedurally, how you want to handle it.
Right. Right. So with the proposed action, if we're breaking them apart, would we do seeker for each action?
No,
No.
what you've generally done is the seeker, remember, it's one application.
Yeah, right. So it's
You've done one seeker
Got it.
determination, but in your deliberations, you've addressed each variance.
Does anybody have any strong feelings on whether we do seeker tonight or whether we do seeker at a special meeting?
I don't think it's going to change. It would be the same determination based on a reduction or whatever. So,
Well, I guess I pause then, because you do need to know what the action is in front of you. There's been at this point, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the monument sign specifications that are definitively being proposed.
Guess we could err on the side of caution and wait to do it at the special
It-
meeting.
We can wait, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
just
I think-
questioning, but maybe coming out of this meeting then, we'll just formally request that and respond of what's being presented at that special meeting and request a special meeting, and then you guys will respond by setting that date once it's confirmed.
Yeah, and think about this approach as well. What gets sent to the county is your application. Based on your presentation prior to opening the public hearing and the deliberations that were held during it, it appears that there's been further modification to your sign proposal, your sign package. it might make sense if you considered a written submission clearly now definitive. This is what we're proposing for the sign variance. This is what we may be proposing for the canopies. So the county planning agency knows this is the proposal now.
I just want to talk about that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What we're talking about is a complete reduction. So if that county referral has already been made, my understanding is we don't need to resubmit to the county.
Oh, that's correct.
So you would
I
be,
understand that,
you would
but
be
the-
comfortable with them responding to what's already
It
been
could
made.
be, but understand, if there are certain comments in there or recommendations, or there is a negative recommendation from the county, that has procedural impacts on the board.
A supermajority.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe the order of business is certainly confirm whether anything's been sent. And maybe it just makes sense for the record to consult with your client and do a submission as to what exactly the current proposal may be.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, very nice.
Well, yeah, appreciate
And as a
it.
practical matter, you should be advised, the county planning department works very well with the building department, and they're in communications, and they can be fairly timely on getting recommendations
Yeah, I
back.
imagine we could
Yeah.
make a couple
Yeah.
phone calls.
They-
Sure.
We would like to clean up the version of the file anyways.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think it makes sense for the record.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Have a good night.
And just clarify my question, as far as the public, and again, with this next meeting, the public is not allowed to speak, oh, is not allowed to attend,
Well, you can attend. You're welcome to attend,
public is not allowed to speak.
correct.
And will there be a posting about it?
Yes, there'll be a note, once
Good
the
question.
date for the special meeting, if one is to be held, is set, there'll be a notice of special meeting that's posted on the signboard and on the website.
Any other items for new business?
No.
I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Would a member second? Thank you, Patricia. All in favor? Good night. Thank you very much.